Hello, I'm Sensei Alex Kikuyo. Thanks for joining me for Dharma Sunday. The title of today's talk is Chicken Butts and the Bodhisattva Vows. Before we get into that, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be great too. Of all the things I had on my 2022 bingo card, cleaning poop off of chicken butts was not on the list. But here we are. And I'll give you the dirty details about that in a moment. But first, a warning. There is nothing glamorous about living on a homestead. Sure, you have the idyllic sunsets and the rapturous bird song, and that's all well and good, but what they don't tell you is in the middle of all that, there's work. Boring, mind-numbing work. And I'm not complaining, it's not that different from what I did when I apprenticed on farms in Indiana and New York, but I am finding that most of my time is spent shoveling manure and turning compost piles, carrying 50-pound bags of topsoil from the vehicle to the barn. And this is just what goes along with it. It's something you have to do if this is the life you want to live. Today, my work involved cleaning poop off of chicken butts. The technical term for this is pasty butt, and it happens when fecal matter gets stuck in the down feathers of chickens. Due to a lack of opposable thumbs, chickens can't use toilet paper when they poop, so there are times when human hands have to get involved to clean up the mess. And it's a simple procedure. You take scissors and you cut off any large dried clumps of manure. Then you place the bird's backside in warm water and just let them soak for about 20 minutes so that the rest can come off. Once they're dried off, you put the bird back in the coop with their flock and they're good as new. Now, as I reflect on what I did today and what I need to do tomorrow, what I realize is that it's not the work itself that's challenging. Sure, it's physical and it requires skill. It's manual labor after all, but your body adjusts to that over time. It's our minds that get in the way. More specifically, it's our pride. If one wants to live on a homestead, they can't be too good to touch animal manure. They can't be too important to haul topsoil or build garden beds. And they certainly can't be too proud to kneel behind a chicken and clean its butt. Homesteading requires a lot of things, but it mostly requires humility. Buddhism works in the exact same way. We see this in the Bodhisattva vows, which state, sentient beings are numberless, I'll save them. Delusions are endless, I'll see through them. The teachings are infinite, I'll learn them. The Buddha way is difficult, I'll walk the path. Now, a bodhisattva is a being who has realized full and complete enlightenment, also known as Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. However, they choose to remain here in the cycle of suffering until all other sentient beings realize enlightenment as well. It's the Buddhist equivalent of a captain whose ship is sinking and says, I won't leave the ship until all the other passengers are on lifeboats. Now, becoming a bodhisattva sounds very glamorous and very noble. You realize spiritual awakening, you help other people. Who wouldn't want that? But the actual work of becoming a bodhisattva is far from glamorous. Much like living on a homestead, it's mostly mind-numbing and sometimes quite boring. Traditional Buddhist practice consists of sitting on the cushion without moving, walking in circles without talking, and prostrating ourselves, meaning we bow until our forehead touches the floor over and over again. And newsflash, sometimes that floor isn't clean. It's difficult, humbling work. To be a Buddhist, to become a bodhisattva, we have to choose our practice over our ego time and time again. And that is what makes it so effective, because we can't help other people if we think we're above them. The earliest example of this can be seen at the very beginning of Buddhism with the historical Buddha, who originally was named Siddhartha Gautama. Now, Buddha was a prince. He was born into the nobility, and he was set to inherit a vast kingdom. He was athletic, he was attractive, he was well educated. Everything someone could want in a material sense, but he very quickly became disenchanted with worldly things, and he walked away from his inheritance. After 6 years of spiritual practice, Siddhartha Gautama sat under the Bodhi tree, realized enlightenment, and when he stood up, he was Buddha, the awakened one. Now, this is a beautiful, awe-inspiring story, but what's most important to me is what happened after Buddha realized enlightenment. How he chose to live his life in the days, weeks, months, and years after his awakening. What's very telling is that he did not go back to the palace and take back up his royal duties. He didn't become a prince again. He didn't rule over a vast kingdom. Far from it, he became a mendicant monk, wandering the countryside, living off the donations of others. He had tattered robes, he had a single bowl, and he had no permanent place to call home. In other words, enlightenment didn't elevate the Buddha. It didn't put him in a palace or a heaven realm where he could look down on other sentient beings. Far from it. It brought him low. It put him down in the dirt with the saddest, most humble people on earth. Of course, we'll never know for certain why Buddha made the choice he did, but I suspect that he chose to live this way because he knew Prince Siddhartha Gautama could never reach people, at least not in the way he wanted to. If he wanted to be of service, if he wanted to walk the Bodhisattva path, Buddha knew that he had to look people in the eye. He had to be on their level. More than that, he knew that if he really wanted to help people, he had to be able and willing to crouch down beneath them. How else would he be able to lift them up? Thus, it is humility that helps us walk the Bodhisattva path. It is humility that allows us to do Buddhist work to save all beings from suffering. But if we're going to do this, then we can't be too busy to check on loved ones. We can't be too important to talk to our neighbors. And we can't be too proud to ask for forgiveness when we've caused harm to other people. As humans, we have egos that want us to stand above other people. But as Buddhists, and more importantly as Bodhisattvas, we have to be willing to kneel. Amitabha. So, that's the talk for today. I hope it was helpful. We'll just end with a few announcements. So, this was Dharma Sunday. It happens every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, broadcast right here at this channel. And I just take some topic from the news or pop culture and I just speak on it from a Buddhist perspective. On Wednesdays, we do meditation and sutra study. That's also at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, also broadcast from this channel, and it's a bit more involved. It's a 15-minute guided meditation, a reading of Buddhist scripture, followed again by a Dharma talk. So, I hope to see you there. Until next time, Amitabha.